Kaduna, Jigawa, Yobe, and Zamfara states to strengthen health system, improve quality of lives of women, and promote child survival. About 100 facilities were renovated under the program in Jigawa State, in addition to pre-drugs, medical consumables, and hospital equipment worth millions of naira. State Deputy Governor Ibrahim Hassan Hadeja expressed commitment to further cooperate with DFID for additional support with a view to improving quality of lives of people.
What is required of us in terms of expansion, I can give you the full commitment that the state government is willing to factor that in its planning when it comes to budgeting and so on and so forth, to say if there's a minimum that we need to do to get that support from DFID. Have the commitment
on Calabar for a leadership and conflict management training. The 5-day training seeks to improve the leadership capacity of INEC management at all levels and equip them on mitigating conflict situations during elections. Umar Basiedet reports.
The leadership and conflict management for electoral stakeholders lead training is one of the first to be conducted in Nigeria. National Chairman of INEC, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, represented by the Resident Electoral Commissioner of Cross River State, Dr. Brian Frankland, harped on the importance of the training as elections draw closer.
We've gone through the planning process and we're in the almost implementation process now, and from the look of things, the very moment the election project budget is approved, all that we need in terms of equipment and other things is going to be.
Director of Voter Education and Publicity, Mr. Oluwole Osaze-Uzi, as well as other stakeholders, said effective communication remains critical in every electoral process.
It's in line with the Commission's commitment to training and generally improving the capacity of its staff.
To have credible election, you need to have a lot of explanation, a lot of communication, and we hopefully, with this heads of voter education of the 36 states, we can target more the message that INEC is trying to deliver.
At the end of the training, the INEC heads of voter education and publicity reps from the 36 states of the country are expected to acquire extensive skills and techniques on conflict management through effective voter education. In Calabar, Umar Basiedet, NTA News.
Meanwhile, as a way of curbing the use of light arms during the 2019 general elections, a roundtable discourse has been held in Abuja to provide solution to the menace. Ahmed Ondas Ahmed reports that the West African Action Network on Small Arms, WASAN, is the brain behind the roundtable.
The infiltration and light weapons through Nigeria's border is a source of concern to government at all levels, especially now that 2019 general election drew near. Security reports have it that youth are at times used by politicians to cause mayhem during political campaigns, as well as disrupting elections with the use of small arms. The new trend of armed robbery and kidnapping has been added to the negative impact of light weapons in the nation's polity. Therefore, the consensus of discussants at the roundtable is to introduce the new policy of whistleblowing into the mop-up of light weapons in the country in order to have violent-free 2019 polls.
We want them to do more in mopping up this and before the other election, because we need peace in the country. If there is no peace, there is no election.
Every sector of this country has been affected by the proliferation and use or misuse of small arms. You cannot underscore what is happening with the security sector today.
A child who is well trained in that regard will be reluctant to use weapons the way it's been used.
Even though the Nigeria border is so large, stakeholders say if it is properly secured, it will greatly reduce the proliferation of small arms in the country and West Africa region. The roundtable has represented from the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. In Ahmed Ondas Ahmed, NTA News.
And away from Nigeria, gender-based violence took center stage at the global financial meetings of the International Monetary Fund and World Bank Group 2018 Spring Summit in Washington, D.C. Mosede Abel reports that delegates believe the issue is a global problem that needs coordinated effort to tackle.
Since 2013, a World Health Organization data reveals that 1 in every 3 women has been beaten, coerced into sex or abused, and 1 in 5 women are sexually abused as a child. This, delegates at the spring meeting say, must be addressed.
Almost 1/3 of women around the world who've been in a relationship have experienced violence by their intimate partner. WHO, the World Health Organization, estimates that the prevalence of intimate partner violence is as high as 43%.
The latest World Health Organization report indicates that women who have been physically or sexually abused are 16% more likely to have a low birth weight baby and are twice as likely to have an abortion, while a UNAIDS report puts it that such women and girls are 50% more likely to acquire HIV in some regions of the world.
It's really important to involve men and boys, because without that it's very difficult to have real change.
There's lots of social harms. Children are vulnerable to rape, to murder.
The United Nations Population Fund is currently working in about 135 countries to address violence against women and has invested more than $93 million 2 years ago to eliminating gender-based violence and harmful practices.
It is hoped that this will reduce the 38% of women said to be murdered around the world by their partner, compared to just 6% of men, and also address unequal earnings, overworking, underpaid, and others. From Washington, D.C., I am Bosade Ebu.
Well, the Queen of England has opened the Commonwealth Heads of Government Summit with an appeal on leaders to appoint her son, Prince Charles, to lead them. For these and other stories trending on the global scene, let's join Ado Adamo also.
Welcome and thank you for joining us. The Queen of England has opened the Commonwealth Heads of Government Summit with an appeal to leaders to appoint her son, Prince Charles, their head. She made the appeal while hosting the 53 leaders gathered at Buckingham Palace. Addressing the gathering of dignitaries, royals and Prime Minister, the Queen said it was great pleasure and honor serving as their leader. Issues under discussion at the 2-day summit include oceans conservation, cybersecurity, and trade between the countries. Meanwhile, President Donald Trump has threatened to cancel planned talks with North Korea's leader if they are not fruitful. Speaking alongside Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe at a media conference, the U.S. President was optimistic over a planned meeting with Kim Jong-un, but said he would respectfully leave if the summit will turn out unproductive. Abe implored the international community and the U.S. not to reward Kim just for showing up for talks. And NASA's test spacecraft has blasted off from Earth in a search for a new planet that could support life. Tests lifted off from Cape Canaveral in Florida Wednesday evening, local time, riding a SpaceX Falconet rocket. The transiting exoplanet survey satellite will spend 2 years scoring 85% of the sky and hundreds of thousands of its brightest stars. The Chief of Staff of Renegade General Khalifa Haftar's army in Libya have survived assassination attempt outside the eastern city of Benghazi, according to a military source. General Abdulrazak Nuteri and his convoy were heading to a military base in Al-Marash on Wednesday when they were targeted by a car bombing. A spokesperson of the Haftar self-styled Libyan National Army said in a statement on Twitter that the army general survived an assassination attempt. Nuteri is believed to be one of the 2 contenders in line to replace Haftar, who is currently receiving medical treatment in France following the report of stroke. And that is it from here. The news continues.
Sports update is next with Tamara Ebiwe.
Minister of Science and Technology, Dr. Ogbonnaya Onu, has reiterated the ministry's commitment towards embarking on the production of sports equipment in a bid to boost the nation's economy. Dr. Onu was speaking in Abuja Thursday while receiving organizers of the 2019 Nigeria Building and Research Institute Games Festival, who visited him with the hosting rights flag.
Many of our research institutes do a lot of research in finding out ways we can develop equipment, sporting equipment, that are cheaper than even the best that you find anywhere in the world.
Team Nigeria athletes who returned to the country midweek have expressed satisfaction with the country's performance in the just concluded Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast, Australia. Some of them who spoke to Oche Ngbede on arrival at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, said they will not relent but up their games ahead of subsequent competitions.
All what I have to tell the youth and sports is for them to help us to do what they need to do at the right time so that we can be able to do well at the 2020 Olympics.
And in wrestling, President, Nigeria Wrestling Federation, Daniel Igali, has been elected Vice President of the Commonwealth Wrestling Board. Igali, former world and Olympic champion, polled 19 out of the available 22 votes at a meeting of the General Assembly of the Commonwealth Wrestling Committee at the just concluded 2018 Commonwealth Games in Australia to emerge one of the 3 vice presidents of the body. With sports updates, Tamara Ebiwe, NTA News.
Well, let's take a quick look at the weather forecast. So that's our package on Nationwide. Thank you for watching. I am Ogwa Vivian
Soon, the Motivator Challenge, fueled by Malta Guinness. The Motivator Challenge is a high-energy, exciting Pan-African game show where 30 contestants representing 4 different African countries compete for the ultimate prize of $20,000. NTA2Lagos Network Center.
Hamida is asking, how do you source for materials for your product?
Okay, well, most of them I buy here in Nigeria.
Yeah.
From different states. Then my black soap comes mainly from Ghana. Same with my shea butter and a couple of powders and oils I use. They all come from Ghana. Then I also get some oils from Morocco as well. So it's a bit of those 3 places, Nigeria, Ghana, and Morocco. So yeah.
Okay. This one also from Tommy. She's asking, do you train people in this?
Not yet.
You don't train people?
We don't.
Yet?
We plan to, say, end of this year or, first quarter of 2019. But for now, no.
Okay. So this one is from me.
Okay.
What makes you a go-getter?
Because I decided against all, let's say, the whole parents and everything telling me, oh, you must work. They want a lawyer, of course. You know, I decided to still do what I wanted. It was very difficult at first, being a made in Nigeria brand. I mean, who wants to use black soap to bath and oils and ori and all that? You know, I really pushed, you know, to get my clientele, to get my target market, and so now it's comfortable that I'm still getting orders even when I sleep, and that's important for me because I really pushed together. It wasn't that rosy at first. It wasn't even rosy at first. There were some days I tried to quit.
Your
Health Network Center. It's time again for Health Monitor, the #1 program that solves it. To leave a life that's healthy just way. To improve the quality of health and life and inspire you and give you the hope that you can live a healthy life every day. It's Health Monitor, your guide to good health. It's Health Monitor, the #1 health solver.
I want to welcome you very special once again to Help Monitor Your Guide's Good Health. Thank you so much for finding time to be with us on today's package. All right, on the show today we have, as usual, body care, mother's world, health tips that we bring to you to keep your health in top shape. You know, information is power, and health information, we guarantee to an extent that you have a healthy lifestyle and that you benefit from these information to optimize your health, okay? So take these health tips very seriously, okay? All right, well, we want to take a break now, and when we come back, we shall be moving to assisted conception parts of Health Monitor Your Guide's Good Health. So ask Dr. Akini, the Chief Medical Director at TrueCare, to educate us on issues relating to IVF.
It's Health Monitor, the #1 health show.
Concerned about ear hygiene? Clean only the outer parts of the ear. Never put cotton buds or sticks inside the ear canal. The inner ear cleans itself.
It's Health Monitor, the #1 health show.
Since there are two tubes, if a woman has one of the tubes blocked, then there's a theoretical 50% chance in getting pregnant. We've had a 62-year-old woman got pregnant with twins and delivered.
Many women go from one hospital to the other, trying to cure what is not actually a disease.
You're still on Health Monitor Your Guide's Good Health, and welcome to the assisted conception part of Health Monitor Your Guide's Good Health. Today we want to take a shot at the issue of low sperm count. A lot of guys have suffered from low sperm count, and they want to know, if they have low sperm count, can they benefit from the IVF procedure?
My name is Dr. Olushola Akini. I am the Medical Director of TrueCare Fertility Clinic at Victoria Island, Lagos. I'm a gynecologist and a fertility expert. I want to talk briefly on low sperm count, the issue of low sperm count. I have had calls from most of our men asking me for directions on how to manage this issue oftentimes, and I believe that it is apt for us to give some insights into this issue. Low sperm count means that the sperm cells in your ejaculate, the number is few. There are degrees of low sperm count. That is, for every mil of the ejaculate, we expect about 20 million sperm cells. When I say this, you cannot, I would like to add that sperm cells are not what we can see with our naked eyes. So do not ejaculate and start looking for sperm cells in your ejaculate. These are things we see under the microscope. They are like tadpoles. We should see about 20 million of these tadpole-like cells inside 1 mil of the ejaculate. When we see lower than this, then we say that there is reduced sperm count. That is what doctors call oligospermia. There are two categories. You can have sperm cells just less than 20 million, say 10, 15 million. It is still lower than cited 20 million. But when the count is less than 5 million in a mil of the ejaculate, then we say there is that the man has severe oligospermia. That is, the relative potential to achieve pregnancy becomes worse. Let me just add now that currently the WHO has revised this figure downwards, and it is currently being debated because we have found out that perhaps this issue of low sperm count should be also cited with respect to the community and environment. Initially, like I said, the normal used to be 20 million per male. But now, 20 million per male, because those who did the study actually did not take into account the total picture involved in infertility in men. Now we know that below 20 million, in those days, the fertility potential of a man is reduced. But so much now, the thought is being reconsidered. And now we know that even though the concentration of the absolute count of the sperm cells, the absolute count is good, but it is the total now that we work with currently, the total sperm count, that is more important than the concentration. But I want to say that oligospermia, which means reduced sperm count, either way, whichever way you want to consider it, has reduced potential in terms of reproduction. When the man has oligospermia, there is reduced potential. It does not mean that God cannot do it, but we're talking medically and going with figures and facts. The lower figure now that reproductive experts are working with has taken into cognizance the community and the population of infertile as well as fertile men, unlike the old figure of 20 million. Now, having said that, there are so many causes of reasons why a man can have reduced sperm cells. Some of them are genetic. That is, when a problem is genetic, that is the way God created you. You have the genes that cause a disease.